Welcome back. Now we continue. So in Daniel chapter 1, verse 1 to 3, the first thing that happened was that when you read it critically, the Lord said, and the Lord gave them up to King Nebuchadnezzar. So clearly in Jeremiah chapter 25 and in 29, we got to understand that God was in agreement with his own people that this is what is going to happen. So when it happened, it is not news. It is not something new for you, because we both agree that because of your wickedness, because of your idolatry, you are going into slavery for 70 years. And so Nebuchadnezzar captured their king. So whenever the enemy wants to capture something, he goes after the head first, because once he strikes the shepherd, all the flocks will be scattered. So he targets the key people. He targets the family head, the business head. He targeted all those great people who are at the top, because once he struck them, he captured every other thing. And that was the principle that was used here. When he captured the king, all the Israelites automatically became slaves, and they were all carried away into Babylon. So now they have entered into Babylon. Let's see what happened in the Babylon, a pagan town where they know nothing about God. They don't love God. They don't worship God. They only are used to worshiping and serving their idols. But we have people who love God coming in as slaves. What is going to become of them? Are they all going to be consistent towards their devotion with the Lord? Or some of them may give up. Now, Daniel was part of these people. So now when they got into Daniel, let's see, the first thing Nebuchadnezzar did was to make a selection out of them. So out of the multitude, there are the called out. The chosen ones are called out. So no matter the multitude, there are still people that God has set apart. And so that was what Nebuchadnezzar also did. He sorted the Israelites. And this is what he said. Before you come into the palace to be trained and work for me, 1, you must be from a noble family. 2, you must be young. 3, you must be handsome. You must be without blemish. You must be quick to learn. You must be intelligent, and you must be well trained. Now, these are the qualities that Nebuchadnezzar has stated. That I don't want anyone with blemish. I don't want any ugly person in my palace. I don't want anyone that is old in my service. I don't want someone that is not intelligent. I need this category of people. And he was being specific about it. Now, I got to understand that it is only God that when he is picking someone into his service, he does not consider whether you are handsome, whether you are ugly, whether you are from a rich family or a poor family, whether you are intelligent or you are not intelligent, whether you are wretched or not. In your wretchedness, actually God rather goes after the wretchedness, the people that we consider to be wretched. Those are the people God go after and bring them. And when he brings them, he transformed them and make them like him. So just take a moment to give God some praise. Give him some praise, because if God is going to select people based on his, who he is, no one, absolutely no one can qualify, because none of us can match up to the standard of who God is. No one. And so when he selects you, when he chooses you, you should know that he chose you based on his sovereignty, and he chose you based on his grace. And that is a privilege that you must never take for granted. That every day, you give him praise for that opportunity. That is being done. Let's go forward. Now, the second thing Nebuchadnezzar did was to change the names of the people that were selected. So now he selected them, and he said, now after the selection, you're going to go into training for 3 years to learn the system, the policies, the structures of this new province you are in. Because for us, we don't worship God. And this is how we do our things here. And you must learn that this is the way it must be done. And you must also learn how to write the Babylonian language and speak it as well. So now, after they have gone through this selection, he changed their name. Now, why would Nebuchadnezzar change their name? The Jewish guys had most of their names connected to their God. So their names remind them of their faith. Their names remind them of their covenant with the Lord. Their name remind them of their beliefs. So if you look at a typical Hebrew guy, most of their names are connected to God because it reminds them of who they are. So when you look at the life of these 4 people that happened to be among the chosen, when you look at Daniel, Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah, all of them, their names had a meaning connected to God. And Nebuchadnezzar said, no, not in this province. I must change your name. Your name must not honor God in this place. Your name must not remind you of who you are or where you are coming from. And so I'm changing your name to represent my deity. So he changed Daniel's name, which means God is judge, to Belshazzar. Bel, protect my life. Then Mishael, meaning who is what God is. He changed it to Meshach, means belonging to Aku. Then Hananiah, Yahweh is gracious. Then he changed it to Shadrach, meaning command of moon god. Then the last person, Azariah, which means Yahweh has help. He also changed it to Abednego, servant of Nebu. So now all these 4 Hebrew guys represented 4 different deities in Babylon. One represented the moon god, one represented Baal, Nebu, and Aku. But when you go into their Jewish community, all of them, their name represented only one God, Yahweh. And so he changed their name so that they forget about who they are. So now these are the 2 things Nebuchadnezzar did to these people. So looking at the transition and the journey of these people, where they are coming from, the question is, would they remain consistent towards God? God gave them up. God said, I'm taking away your light. I'm taking away your fuel. I'm going to give you up into slavery. I'm taking your voice of gladness. I'm taking your land from you. And you are going into a foreign land where they worship gods. For 70 years, you are going to be slaves. And when you go there, these are the things you must do. Pray even for them. Can you imagine? God is asking them to even pray for them. Then, that it didn't end there. Nebuchadnezzar went further to select them to now be closer to him in the palace. Think about it critically. Like, now you're not going to be like an ordinary person where you are free and maybe you can do 1 or 2 things you like. But now you're going to be close to him in his palace. There is no room for any mistakes. Then he changed their name, giving them new identity, new belief system. Would they remain consistent towards God? Would they remain devoted to God in this still moment? We'll find out in the next video. Kindly stick with us, and I know this message is going to be a great blessing to you. Bye for now.